opening statement from Coach, and then we'll take questions from all three.
Yeah, good morning. Man, good to be up here as always, but feels a little different probably today than some of the other times throughout the year. But magical weekend for us, magical 3 days, faced all sorts of adversity, different types of situations. Every game came down to the last 4 or 5 minutes, which we've talked about just about all year, that these Big 12 games in particular typically come down to the fourth quarter, and then some execution late. And you know, the mental meets the physical in those types of situations where you just are going to get challenged so much mentally, so much physically. They have to just dig down so deep, you know, and these good teams are going to make runs at us. And they did that, and our kids stayed poised, and give them all the credit in the world. They deserve it. They made the plays. They stayed together. They trusted the process. They've grown, I think, tremendously from where this thing started, I guess, in early June to capping that off with a tournament championship. It's a coach's dream in a way, and like I said, you just try to have a vision and put it in front of them, and then put these guys in the position to have success. And so, to their credit, they took advantage of it, and they've earned and deserved everything that's come their way. And we're not done. I don't want to talk like this is the end of the season, please, but certainly an opportunity to stop and pause for a day or two, and then we will refocus and kind of move to what's next.
So, Mark, you're not done. You want to put on your political inside and make your pitch for why you should be a home seed. And are you confident you are? Where do you stand on all that?
Yeah, I think we've kind of pitched it quite a bit here over the weekend from our standpoint and from a league standpoint, for sure. I think it would be really hard after we just earned a championship with all the other metrics for us not to get to play here. I'm not a part of that committee. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. None of us do. So I don't think I'll be cautiously optimistic until we hear, I guess, on Saturday, because they do the reveal on Saturday if you're a top 16, meaning host institution. So we will know that before the selection show. Now, you won't know who you play or what seed you are and those types of things. But we certainly think we've done enough to earn the right to host. I just could only imagine what this place would be like if we were to host those first 2 rounds. And of course you got to win the first to get to the second, but you got 2 games in here. So no, I don't know that I have much more than that. I think this group has just played really, really well. We've won 9 out of 10, I believe. Is that right, Chris? Here at the end of the year with a tournament title, and you're 27-6 with some of the net rankings and some of the other wins above bubble and all the other strength of schedule. I think we've put ourselves in a great position to have that right.
So when you look at how the game went on, obviously with Miles and Suarez, they got into foul trouble early. How much was that a factor in that game, and how much confidence was Ural's defense just taking you through that game?
It was probably a factor. Miles got off to the hot start, right? Scored, 8 or 10 right off the bat? I know she had their first 8 for sure. And then, got some late. So she probably was off balance a little bit, having to come in and out, but she got her third with 2.5 to go. So it wasn't like we played a whole lot in the first half without her, or they played without her. She got the 4th early, sat for a little bit, but came back with 6.5 minutes. We went at her a little, kind of went away from that and just said, hey, let's forget about it. Let's just kind of run offense and play our game. And if we have to get her 5, we'll get her 5. But at that point, we had a little lead too, and we felt, or I did at least, fairly comfortable that we were in a really good spot, and we were guarding and defending, and they weren't really coming at any runs. So she never just when she gets good is when she gets those 8 or 10, 12 in a row and gets going, and the crowd get into it, and all her teammates feed off of that stuff. So I just felt like we limited that. Suarez wasn't as efficient. She got to 16 or 17, but took 19 shots, I want to say, to get that. So I thought we did a good job on her for the most part. So, and then held the rest in check. But yeah, no, it was probably had something to do with a little bit of her rhythm, but other than that, I think we just played the way we play, and we weren't overly worried about it.
For Jordan and Cindy, I'm assuming you guys got back yesterday or Sunday. When did you guys get back to work? On Sunday?
Yeah, it's Monday morning, Sunday, yeah.
I'm just kind of wondering for both of you guys, what did it feel like the next day, waking up knowing that you guys had just won the trophy the day before? And what's been the feedback you guys have received since coming back to Morgantown?
I feel like people have been over the moon that we brought back the chip, and waking up the next morning still feels not real that we have the trophy just sitting right here, like still in a little bit of disbelief, but it feels great, honestly.
Yeah, basically what Shaw said, waking up a champion. Not a lot of people get to do that, so it felt good to be on the receiving end of that. And yeah, the feedback has been amazing. A lot of people have been supporting us and giving us our props.
What was it like to get back here at, I don't know, 1 or 2 or whatever, and there was people waiting on you?
Oh, that was amazing. I didn't really think people was going to show up, and then when we were pulling up, they were out there. So, yeah, that was great.
So both of you, start with Jordan. Have you thought about playing here at home through this, and do you envision it? What would it be like to have potentially 2 more home games?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely envision playing here. I think the Cincinnati post game, I was saying, I didn't think this was going to be our last game here. So, yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, with our crowd and our energy, it's going to be real hard for another team to come and win 2 games here. So we have a good chance.
Sydney, same thing for you. What's your vision of what this atmosphere would be like?
Really what Jordan said, I think it's really hard to play against us here in the Coliseum. I think we have a great crowd and great fans that support us, and I would hate to be on the opposite end of that.
Just saw on social, lemons seems to be the word for you guys. You guys like lemon in your iced tea?
That's so
Talk about that a
crazy
little bit.
because we just do it. It's not like something that's,
Yeah, I mean, our sports psych lady, Sophia, she gives us lemons to shock our system. So, before a game, you thinking a lot, and so that just kind of restarts us basically and just keeps us grounded and makes sure we're ready to go into the game.
As a coach, how do you approach it?
Well, it's back football smelling salt. I think it's the same concept. It's just reset your mind, shock you real quick, get your feet where they're supposed to be. I think what last year? So maybe I'll do it this year too. I don't know. They had little Dixie cups and they had sour Skittles.
they're still doing it.
Are we still doing that? Yeah. So last year I walked into a huddle and we got those little Dixie cups and we're eating Skittles and I was like, what in the world is going on? I asked Sophia. She's like, no, coach, just let them let that roll. And I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna ask or question it for now. And then it's turned into lemons. And I just think they have a few techniques, I guess, that pregame. I know at halftime, every once in a while during. Even timeouts or, those type, but Mimi was chomping on something, in one of the timeouts the other day too. So whatever it takes to get them in the right spot to be as efficient and as good as they can, I guess I'm all for it.
Well, it's caught on. I mean, you have to switch it up, maybe go to lime next to or something. Vinegar.
Somebody else has brought that up. Yeah, they might start questioning what else we're having with that if we're not too careful, but we might need to keep it with lemons.
Yeah.
So for you two, what was the court like? Obviously, it's a different court than what you're normally used to playing on. What was that like?
I mean, I like the LED, the starting five, all of that stuff. It was a little it did take some time to get adjusted to, but I feel like after we got adjusted to it, it was a little bit easier to work with. But I thought it was a pretty cool idea. And I enjoyed it.
Did you have to switch shoes or did you stick with the same shoes?
No, I stuck with the same shoes. I tried different shoes.
Same thing. I stuck with the same shoes.
Yeah.
It wasn't slippery though? Because some people said it was a
said
little
that?
slippery. Huh?
Who said it wasn't slippery?
For both players, Coach Kellogg has kind of talked about staying even keeled and has kind of made that a thing. And then you guys go out and play this chaotic defense. So those two pieces don't seem to fit, but obviously it worked. Can you guys just kind of take me through that transition? How, you go through practice, preparation, and everything's this, but then when you get on the court, it gets dialed up all of a sudden.
I'll say it doesn't feel chaotic on our end, honestly, because we do it day in and day out. So I think playing against it, it's chaotic and maybe watching it, but maybe for us, it doesn't feel as chaotic.
Yeah, like she said, just doing it so many times. Other people are not used to it, but we do it every day in practice, so we're used to it.
So for you guys, that is staying even keeled.
That's normal.
Yeah, that's the standard, yeah.
Mark, so many of the coaches this year have talked about the parity in the league. How obvious does that become when all the teams are together? And I think there are upsets in basically every round of the tournament.
Yeah, I think a couple things go into that, though. So, yes, there's parity. It's been a really good league. We had a really good non-conference. I think some of it, though, when we get in these conference tournaments and these mega leagues, the seedings don't necessarily reflect everything because you don't play everybody twice, and the schedules are unbalanced. So you may have and then you deal with even like an Iowa State who had all the injuries and was a preseason top 10 team in the country and ends up as our 7 seed, I think, and Arizona State, who's going to make the NCAA tournament, it looks like, or projected to anyway, is a 10 seed. Like, that's crazy. So I think just the seedings get skewed a little bit, but I know there for a while all the lower seeds or higher seeds, whichever way you want to look at it, the teams that had played the day before were winning and having an advantage. But I don't know if that was because they had played or just because the parallel and the parity within the league was as close as it was. But then we played 3 close games, so there weren't many blowouts in this tournament. Everybody played close games. It came down to the fourth quarters. I think it's been quality this year. So I think that's why we're even more thankful to find a way to cap it all off.
Even though it ended with 1 versus 2, like I think Kansas State led TCU at halftime. So it's like,
yeah.
I mean, just even though it ended 1 versus 2, that I guess doesn't tell the whole story.
Yeah, and I think teams can get hot. You can get on rolls in those situations, but you're also only as good as as you play the next night or the opponent that you happen to play the next night. And so it does get hard. I think Kansas State was on 4 games in 4 days. TCU, we played in 3 games in 3 days, but I don't know. You can ask them. We seem to be okay, and I think we're very well conditioned and we're used to playing that way. And so I thought we were in a good spot mentally, physically. You guys feel good?
Yep.
Mark, it's good to get some rest, but you're going to have 12 or 13 days between games. Is that too much? How do you adjust practice to try to keep them crisp?
Yeah, it's a good question. Normally, it probably feels like a little too long. This year, it may actually be exactly what we need. We're going to find out, and we're going to talk a little bit today, and we'll meet today and just talk about how they handle this and handling it the right way, and we'll get them refocused. And, some people are talking to us like this is like the end of the year and it's over, and I want to make sure we realize that the most important piece of this is still coming up, and so they've got to enjoy it for a couple days. I mean, after the Greenbrier win, I felt like it was somewhat similar to, and we had a little bit of time, but then we had to get refocused pretty quickly, and so we'll be all right. Yeah, we'll get back after it. We'll be off today too, but just meet, and then we'll start the process again tomorrow, and ease into it, and then we'll find out Sunday who we play and all that type of stuff, and then it'll be a normal week. As soon as we get to Monday, Monday, it will be normal.
Coach, I imagine that any coach who gets a new job at a Power 4 institution has ambitions of winning championships. But can you summarize maybe the biggest things that have occurred over the last 3 years that have put you in position to do what you guys did?
Well, I guess it's just the build-up. Sometimes I call it the natural progression, I think, or even in my career, like when you start and you just kind of hopefully see it build. And I think we've gotten a little bit better every year. I mean, obviously our first year, I don't think anybody expected necessarily for us to do what we did. And then we had the whole Iowa game and the NCAA tournament and winning a game. And so we got a lot of notoriety, I guess, if that's the term, from that one. And then, to kind of do it again the following year. But we finished higher in the conference standings. Our seed in the NCAA tournament was a little bit better. And then we one-upped it again this year and finished second in the league and obviously win the tournament. We're going to have a higher seed in the NCAA tournament again, regardless of what that is. Hopefully we're playing at home. So there's just been a progression, and I think when you have a vision as a coach, that's probably how I see it anyway. Is typically in my career we've gotten better as I've stayed at places, and the system kind of takes its full effect, and these guys get more comfortable in it, which they look like they are now, more so than ever. But yeah, other than that, it's just you dream about it, you have a vision. I mean, we haven't sat and just talked about it over and over. We didn't even do, like, in years past, I've done the go pull out a ladder and make them like visualize themselves cutting down a net before we even play those types of games, and we really didn't do any of those types of things. We just kept playing and just kept believing and kept playing, and this group's gotten so much better, and they have so much trust in each other, and they have fun. They're just not, they don't get tired of each other very often. I don't think. Maybe they do, but they don't show it from when I'm around, it looks like their energy and all their, even game day on the last day, I'm just like, man, like they just continue to kind of surprise me.
And then, Jordan, to that point, you've referred to this group as a group of sisters a couple of times since winning the championship. What goes into that? How does that occur? And is there something that you can put your finger on that was like a real solidifying moment for that this year?
Honestly, I would say probably started that Greenbrier game. We just had to come together. I mean, I know we were like divided. Some of us was in the locker room, some of us was playing. But yeah, I just feel like that really brought us together and, showed us that we could do anything, as long as we stuck together. But yeah, I just think also Tom and just our chemistry building with each other. We just naturally love being around each other. We hang out all the time. Everybody has great personality, so I think everything just meshed well, and that helps us with our success on the court.
Cindy, do you agree with all of that?
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely the personality thing. There's so many different personalities on the team where it's hard not to love where you are.
And then, Jordan, you've known Coach Kellogg now for at least 4, maybe 5 years. What sold you on his system and his style being a winning style of basketball?
I think the first thing that I noticed with Coach Kellogg just was his loyalty to me. And I think I'm a very loyal person, so I was attracted to that. And yeah, I mean, he's a winner. I mean, it says it all. You don't have to look too far to find that out. And I wanted to win. I wanted to be a winner. And I wanted to be with somebody that had like some of the same values and morals that I did. So yeah, it just worked out perfect. And I'm glad that I went with him.
Hey, Mark, the nature of women's tournament versus the men's tournament with the 4-team regionals and 16s, on one side it's really hard. On the other side it's a great advantage for you too. But do you ever look at the other side and say, man, if it was just like that for everybody, for the men's team, and I don't know, maybe it would be just a different story for a lot of programs that get through to the second weekend overall. There's not that built-in disadvantage of having to play road games sometimes.
Well, yeah, if we were on the men's side and you're talking about being a 4 or 5 seed, potentially the difference is much smaller, right? I mean, you're just playing a 13 or a 12 in the first round, and then you're playing each other on a neutral floor in the second round, and you're wearing a light uniform or a dark uniform, I guess, and that's really would be about the extent of it. But in women's basketball, yes, because of the top, 16 and that sub-regional hosting, like, yeah, that does change the dynamic. We've been on the other end of it. That was kind of, as soon as we finished that Iowa game, that was one of the first things I said was, man, that was a phenomenal environment. It was a great place to play. There was 15,000 or whatever they have, maybe not that many, but whatever it was. And what I could only imagine what that would be like if we could ever get one in Morgantown. So I've said that for the last couple of years, that was kind of the goal, was to how do we find a way to get one of these things in Morgantown? Because again, I could only think of how electric Hope Coliseum would be if we had one of those.
And then your defense, for as much as you all put into the primary defense, if teams break it, if you have foul trouble, if there's a really good guard, having a second defense that you can fall back on that could be equally good. How difficult was that for a coach to allocate practice time and make sure that, plan B is just as good or really good, at least, compared to plan A? Yeah,
good question. We play multiple defenses, and we obviously play in the full court and the half court. I think one thing where you're cognizant of this time of year is that possessions decrease. You play probably a little bit more in the half court than you do in the full court. You would be surprised. We really don't work on the press. I mean, over the last month, 5 minutes of practice probably is about it. And then you're also at the point in the season, though, like we've probably seen about every press breaker there is in basketball. Like if you threw one at us that was just completely new, we would probably be a little surprised. But we've probably seen every person on a team take it out. We've seen people bring up one person or 2 people or 4 people. I mean, we've kind of seen it all. So, you can try to save them a little bit there, and then we just kind of concentrate on the half court. And we are a preparation team. We are detail. Sometimes I don't want to overload them, but I do want to make sure if they can make a play or we pick up something on a scouting report that we can give them that information. So just making sure we're dialed in defensively in the half court, whether we're playing man or zone, is really the goal. But you would probably be surprised how little we work on the press this time of year.
Coach, in order to put the program in position to host, required a lot of extra steps, didn't it? And scheduling, obviously one, non-conference. Can you just talk about like maybe what you've learned through the entire process this year of what has to be done in order to get in this position?
Well, the greatest thing that has to be done is you have to win. Like that's still it sounds simple, but you just even in the years past, like even in the last 2 years, if we would have won a game or 2 more, we would have been in, maybe this position. So winning is still it. Kayla Scott, who does our scheduling, and she did a great job finding the right places, the right opponents, right locations. Schedule was good. It was beefed up a little bit. Some of that's luck at times, though, because you're going off of what a team did the year before. And so we thought even 2 years ago we had a beefed up schedule, and then it just didn't end up, panning out that way because some of the teams just didn't have the year that we thought they were going to have. So yeah, I don't know that I truly believe in a whole lot of luck, but every once in a while that comes into a little bit of play, but way more just on our kids to do what they're supposed to do and, play the schedule that's in front of them, win the way that you're supposed to win, be efficient when you do win. If you lose close, play in close games, and then I think all the metrics start to kind of go in line there. And then you hope there's a human element too. I hope part of the people on a committee are watching us play. We've been disappointed because we haven't think we've gotten enough recognition nationally at times, and, there's a lot of storylines in women's basketball. I think we have lots of storylines too that people would, if they wanted to choose to cover, they could probably do that. But, we've been ranked now for quite some time, and it just kind of keeps rising because of this little run we've been on. And so, yeah, I think we've done a lot. It is difficult. A lot of things have to go your way, but winning typically solves a lot.
You mentioned storylines, and I noticed there was a comment in I think it was the ACC tournament about narratives throughout the year. Do you buy into that the media locks into certain narratives and then just sticks to it throughout the entire year?
Well, I think there's I think some truth to that for sure, and some leagues get more recognition than other leagues, or more TV coverage or exposure, those types of things. And again, it's on us, it's on our league, it's on our teams and coaches to take advantage of those opportunities, when you get them, But even for like the Greenbrier game, that was a national TV game that turned into something crazy. If that game was on ESPN Plus, it doesn't get nearly the coverage, Playing the other day was probably great for us. I think we were almost a standalone, game. There wasn't a lot of men's games, women's games going on Sunday at that time. So, and we took advantage of it. So for our program, it's take advantage for the opportunities. But yeah, when we went into the year, I was disappointed in the amount of national TV games we were getting, because I thought our program was at a different level that probably deserved more opportunity to play on national TV. So yeah, we're still just trying to work at it, and I don't know, I guess when all else fails, I keep saying it, but just keep winning, and at some point, people are going to continue to take notice.
Coach Long, so since you've been at West Virginia, the Big 12 in the previous 2 years have gotten 2 regional hosts from the tournament. One of those was Texas, which obviously isn't in the league anymore. During that same time, SEC, Big Ten, ACC have all gotten 7. Do you think there is a misconception of what the Big 12, or is there a misconception on how good the Big 12 is? Because, you guys had to scratch and claw to get the second seed, or the second host this year. And I don't know, to me, it seems like there's something wrong with that compared to the other.
Yeah, I've never been a part of any of those discussions to understand how it happens, if I was being honest. Yes, the second place team in the Big 12 should absolutely probably be hosting, assuming you have a good enough resume to do that. And I thought we had a good enough resume, or do have a good enough resume. Yeah, the other leagues, and some getting 7 or 8, and I think one league had 7 teams in the top 16, that we're going to host. Like that's crazy to me. You're talking about your 7th place finisher getting to play at home, and not the second place team in another power league that had a good non-conference year. And I think, a year ago, though, I don't know that the Big 12 had a great non-conference year. Like, we didn't have a great one 2 years ago. I thought this year we were considerably better in the non-conference as a whole. And you really do need that, though. You do need to cheer and support those other Big 12 teams in the non-conference, because this is when it all comes back into play, because you're just beating each other up. But we've talked about that quite a bit, as other leagues beat each other up and get rewarded. The Big 12 beats each other up, and it was kind of almost held against us a little bit. And I never quite understood that narrative throughout the year, that we had some good teams. And the other thing, guys, is the portal. Like, some of the teams now, because of the portal, it takes longer to get and find your identity. And so, like a Colorado, who I think had like 10 or 11 new players, and not that they weren't good early, but they've gotten, like, they're really good right now. That's a really good basketball team that probably took them a minute to get situated and figured out. And then you start to look at the run that they were on there late too, is like, that's a really, really good basketball team that played Louisville down to the wire, and had them early in the non-conference schedule when they were still trying to figure out who they were. And, so I think I think it's why you just have to do a deep dive, and it can't just be always analytic driven. It's the human element, and the eye probably has to kind of challenge that as well.
Jordan, you were very emotional after the game on that TV interview, but what was that moment like? And then also getting named the most outstanding player, what was that moment like? Because you've worked hard for that moment. What was just the post-game feelings like?
Yeah, obviously I was very emotional. I was just really happy, happy just for my teammates, like, just seeing everybody put in so much hard work into this program and then to see all of us get rewarded. My heart couldn't take it, so I had to let my emotions out. Yeah, and then getting most outstanding player, I was very proud of myself too. And yeah, just excited about it and just thankful, honestly. And yeah, I just gave all credit to God because my season at the start was a little, shaky a little bit. And then to finish out like this, I just felt very blessed.
Mark, a little off-the-wall question. The decision to challenge on-court, officials' calls, walk me through that. How much faith do you have to have in your video person? You cuss them when they get it wrong? I mean, walk me through the process there.
No, I don't cuss him, Greg. Yeah, I mean, and we really, it's mostly just out of bounds plays, maybe who a foul was on, is really all we get. We don't really get to challenge a whole lot anymore. We asked the players early, though, like, don't lie to us when, like, you've got to be honest. Like, if it was off you, like, just tell us, because we those timeouts are gold, is what I've always said, and especially in the women's game where you can advance late, and these games are going to come down to the last couple, minutes, then those things, and we needed all of them against TCU for a lot of different reasons. So yeah, one of our, our coder kind of stands there with the computer and he has access to it pretty quickly, and then Caden kind of oversees that, so then we can get to, and they can, and they'll be like, shake their head, no, don't do it. We had one at TCU that I thought they told me to review, and then that was a bad one. Like, that was so obvious off us, but I thought they were telling me to look at it, and it was like, no, don't look at it. I didn't have I started pretty good. I was 1-0 to start, and then it kind of went downhill from there. And a lot of times, though, I think it's just the angles, the camera angles, that we just don't have the great angle, because I think we had so many this year that were just like, we couldn't overturn it. Like, we just couldn't see it. There's a little bit of a science to it, but it happens pretty quick, too. They won one. TCU did in that game that we should have probably hustled over and got the inbound a little bit quicker. There comes a little strategy to it.
So you got to be honest with them. I mean, does he emphasize that? Because I'm sure there are times you say, no, that's a bad call. But how do you approach it with the coach to emphasize to him?
Like, if it's off me?
Yeah.
Oh, if it's off me, it's off me. I don't want to lose the timeout. I don't want to be responsible for that, telling him to review it and I'm wrong.
It's not pickup ball where you're just sitting there arguing back and forth until you see who's going to give in, And
I'm very much on camera.
The older statesman argues long enough that you just give him the ball. Like, that's not how it works.
Sydney, when Jordan came to West Virginia, she had obviously played for Coach Kellogg previously. Not the case for you when you came into the portal. What was it that sold you on the program and on Coach Kellogg? And did you feel like it was a leap of faith at the time for you?
Yeah, I feel like any decision at that moment's a leap of faith, honestly, because you don't really know what you're getting. But I think that they seemed the most authentic to me. I liked his approach when it came to, like, he had a plan for me if I were to come here. And for a coach to have a plan for you and you didn't even commit yet is a big deal to me. And so I think that just the way he is, he's very, And I even asked, like, the players about him because, sometimes, a coach would put on face, but they said, no, like, this is what you get day in and day out, and that was really important to me.
For Sydney and Jordan, I'm sorry to bring up the lemons again, but it's got my attention. I've had Skittles, I've had sour fruit, right? I've never chewed a lemon before, right? I don't want to, right? They come to you the first time and say, hey, are you okay with this? Did you think this is crazy? Did you see the benefits right away?
Yeah, no, I see the benefits because, it's obviously very sour and I just forget about, like, my nerves of the game. But, yeah, we've been doing it for a while now. I think it's just now really getting caught on. So, I like it. It's been working and we got a championship, so I'm going to keep doing it.
As a kid, I used to eat lemons. I was a little out there. So, I think, I swear. Me and my brother used to
Why does that not surprise me at all? Skin
and everything. Yeah,
so lemon not.
You can get an endorsement for lemon heads.
Sydney, I think you mentioned it after the game, getting all tournament after not getting all conference. How rewarding was that?
It felt amazing. I felt a little overlooked. Well, very overlooked. I'm being a little modest, but just to go out there and be able to showcase myself and my teammates as well. I have to put a lot of emphasis on them because I wouldn't be able to do what I do without them. So I think that the way that we played and the way that I was allowed to play through the system benefited me and just helped me just showcase myself.
You think that overlook goes back to the narrative thing where people get preconceived notions and just ride it throughout the year?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to know how other coaches
Right.
think and vote, and I think they should all be public anyway. I wish we had to put out there who we voted for and figured it out, that way, because I get disappointed every year, and and I just think the teams that have more success, because it's harder to score and average on good teams. Like, it's so much more difficult. But and I've said this publicly too already after the game. I have felt so bad for Sydney because I think she had earned that. She led our league in 3-point shooting. She's a double-figure scorer on the second best team in the league, and you're telling me that kid's not an all-conference player? That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy to me. So she's bought in from day one. And it's not about that. It won't be as she goes. She's got the big trophy too, and another one wherever your all-tournament trophy is too now. So she's got hardware too, and she's been phenomenal. Shaw's really good for me because I think we balance each other out. She can bring out the fun and the character, and and mess with me and bring that out in me. And then when it's time to level her back down maybe a little bit, I can get her back to where grounded and where she needs to be. So for her response after the semifinal game too, where she just didn't get as many touches and looks, and to kind of battle through that, and I know she was fighting that one right a little bit, but then to have the championship game that she had, and obviously the quarterfinal game, she was phenomenal. So yeah, really proud of that one. I've talked about Jordan a lot, but these two, we've been through it, and I'm really proud of them.
Coach, you start amassing tape, your video people, of all potential matchups, or do you just wait until after Sunday and then go from there?
Yeah, we do. Like, for the most part, wait until it happens. I mean, we may look at it a little bit and kind of try to get a mini head start, but there's too many possibilities, I guess, that's probably a little waste of time. So it's probably a little bit more of focus on us. I think coaches kind of sit around and have more fun with it than anything, just kind of trying to see what it might look like and go through some numbers and that type of stuff. But for the most part, you just wait. And then it's cram, though. Then it's kind of the calm before the crazy storm, because as soon as it's announced on Sunday, then you're in kind of full go mode.
And you've mentioned your son is big into the bracketology kind of thing. Has he been all over it of, hey, this is who you're going to play, this is who what company's saying you're going to play? Has he been into that?
Yeah, I don't know quite that much yet. Yeah, he's the most into it of anybody. At least in our circle, I get the information from him before I do anybody else. I think they're going to be playing in the state tournament. So we really need it to be in Morgantown to be able to manage that one. But I don't think he's gone that deep, I guess, to answer your question. But he's certainly into it.
Coach, obviously, two hosts, if it happens, okay, I get it. Like UConn, South Carolina programs, like it's probably not that big of a deal for them anymore. This would be like the first time for this program since the tournament's expanded. With that in mind, how much, I don't know if pressure is the right word, but just that the first time goes well, so that there is maybe another step in the journey, I guess.
Yeah, I think going into there's a lot of things I think I could take that question and go a few different ways. One is I want it for the state, I want it for the community, I want it for our program, I want it for college women's basketball, because I think it will be an electric environment for the other teams that would be coming here to play in, and then obviously for our team. But it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to win. It doesn't guarantee you that you get to play the second game. Like, we just know 2 days worth of games are going to be played here. Like, you have to play really well to win the first game of the NCAA tournament to even get an opportunity to continue to play. And so I don't want us to lose sight of that. I want it to go well. I want it to go right. There's a ton going on in Morgantown that weekend. We got some huge swim thing going on, and our people were telling, like, there's 1,000 swimmers coming into town that weekend. So we got all sorts of stuff going on here in Morgantown that weekend. So this was from a hotel perspective and just everything going on. So there are going to be a lot of people here, just naturally because of the other things. I think the state rallies around it. Outside of the boys' state tournament, I don't think there's a whole lot else going on. So, I hope we get it. I'm interested to see how many, are we talking there's going to be 6,000 or 8,000? Is there going to be 10 or 12? Is there going to be 14? I don't know.
To Justin's question, though, the micro is obviously it's this season and what it means to advancing in the tournament, but there's those points in history where things happen that can really elevate your program. Have you thought about that a little bit, particularly growth of women's basketball in the state and in the region? I mean, there haven't been a lot of prospects in this area that you've been able to have access to. Just the overall growth of the sport.
All of it, yeah. I think all of that's in play. You know, I don't want to probably overdo it where we do feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much pressure because we got one chance at this and it may or may never happen again in history. Like, I don't know that I'm really ready to go there yet. I understand it. I know what it means. And that's what I mean. I know this is big. Like, it will be, I think it will be a magical place. Like, I think that place is going to be like packed. But I don't know that. Like, I don't know. But I just feel like when I see other sports and you see a football weekend and you see, you know, a men's games, you know, and like we've said, like, I want people in the upper bowl. Like, I'm like, that's been in the regular season, not for this. It needs to be better than that, you know. But if we get it, you know, then yeah, I want to challenge everybody. Like, come on, like, now let's go, Mountaineer fan. Like, we talk about being so special and we have so much support, and like, here we go. We've worked really hard to get this. This is program defining, athletic department defining. This is women's basketball. Like, this is all of those things. We're growing a brand. We're growing women's basketball. These kids have earned the right for this because of how hard they've worked. And then, yeah, it'll be up to us to go take advantage. But you know, heaven forbid if we don't, it's going to be one we'll remember forever because of, I think, the passionate fan base and how many people are going to be in here. But I don't know that. I'm just throwing that out there, kind of challenging everybody. Like, let's truly make it unbelievable. Like, because this can be different than other places.
People are talking about you, and anecdotally, my wife was telling me that people at work are like, "How do we get tickets? What's going to happen?" You know, even though this hasn't happened, so things are kind of percolating.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, yeah, and typically I know too, based on. I always know when our crowds are going to be good during the regular season based on the people that ask me for tickets. Like, if nobody asks me for tickets, it's going to be a standard night. I know how this is going to look. When my allotment of tickets are gone, I'm like, okay, this will be 5,000-6,000 people tonight, you know? And so that's already happened, and people are already booking reservations, I guess, you know? And I'm like, hey, like, we don't know this. Like, we do not know. Like, if you do that, that is on you, because I'm not telling you to do anything. But yeah, I guess to your point, yeah, I think that's why I think I'm anticipating something that could be really, really cool for our kids, and there will be a lot of bodies in the Coliseum. But
thanks, everyone.
We'll see. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.